Hi, everyone. This is episode number 2 of the Path Forged with Technology podcast, and I'm your host, Donna Smith. And I welcome all YouTube viewers today. A quick disclaimer. I am not affiliated with any of the products that I will be talking about today, and I am not being sponsored by any of those companies either. I'm only going to be giving my opinions and experiences based on the content that I'm going to share today. And this will be the first of a series of episodes devoted to the tool that is the focus of this series. And each episode will cover a specific feature of that one tool. So let's get started. The focus of the episode today is to talk about some alternatives to the traditional ways that people share various data files from one computer or device to another. So in general, I'm talking about file sharing and file syncing type tools and some availability of options there. The traditional way, and I used to do this as well, to sync files from one computer to another, is to use a traditional cloud service. Say, for instance, Dropbox. In fact, Dropbox is going to be my main reference point for a cloud type service. Not to pick on Dropbox, it's a great product, but I want to focus there because of its popularity. And also, Dropbox has the feature that is comparable to the one I'm going to talk about today, where you install its application that runs on your Windows device that allows for in the background upload and syncing of files. Another popular cloud service, of course, is the Google set of tools. And the idea is that your data is with either Google or Dropbox. The idea is that your data is stored in the cloud, and then file synchronization is done on your local device via their app. So that's the context here of cloud type services. And most of these tools are multifunctional beyond data sharing. And I want to discuss today in this episode a different device-to-device communication method that is very flexible and cost-effective that you may not even know existed. So first of all, before we launch into that area, let's talk about some traditional problems with these cloud services specific to syncing. Really, if you want to come right down to it, the service owns your data. Sure, you own it as well. I mean, you've got it on your devices, but there is a copy of it that is stored in the cloud. And that can be kind of scary from a privacy and security concern. And that's irrelevant of which cloud service that you go with. It's just a reality of the technology. So that's a problem. For most people, the free plans, like with Dropbox or with other applications like that, is that mostly the free plans are not sufficient for data needs. And so they automatically, if you want to stay with that product, they automatically force you into getting a paid plan. So that's kind of nasty. A nasty reality. And frankly, the paid plans are very, very expensive over time, especially since you're forced into a subscription model and not a one-time only purchase. And I have found that only a small subset of devices are supported for a particular set of Windows operating systems, for example, and if your particular device characteristics aren't covered by that platform, well, then you're forced into finding a different solution. And many times the connection applications that these services force you into using that support syncing and whatnot, a lot of times they're unreliable and they end up dropping out of connection when you're doing things on your computer. And this, of course, will force a reboot of your device, and it definitely disrupts your workflow. So let me tell you a little bit of the backstory as far as my dilemma with syncing and using those types of features on my computers. About 2 years or so ago, I was using exclusively for this type of feature on my hobby computers or here in my office. I was using Dropbox, and one of the computers right now that's in my office runs on Windows 8. It's a perfectly great PC. I love using it for different applications that it is well suited for, and I want to keep using the PC. But that was one of my critical PCs in my loop of allowing for file syncing operations. It was a PC, Windows 8 PC, that up until about 2 years ago, it was no longer supported by Dropbox. Dropbox was canceling Windows 8 and newer operating systems that were trying to run their service. Now, granted, I was on a free plan, but that restriction also went to any paid plans that Dropbox, where you had a Dropbox paid plan. So I was forced into finding something different. And anyway, so I searched around a little bit. I found this fantastic tool that is the whole focus of this episode series, as I said earlier, and it solved all my problems. And because it still allowed that older PC to be allowed into the loop of the syncing of operations, and it all works seamlessly, and it's extremely cheap. I was able to get a one-time only license all you need is just one license for this process that I'm going to be showing you today in this episode. And so that's the backstory. I was forced into finding something different, a Dropbox alternative, I'm going to say, and I was able to find it, get it set up, and I found a very workable process that I'm going to be sharing with all of you. I have perfected it myself, and I want to provide that great education content to all of you. So let's go ahead and get started on all that. So this other tech option, this other service that I'm talking about, let's describe that to you. It focuses on networking. Sure, it's still internet connected, but it's a networking protocol solution that is the focus of the syncing operation within this tool. And this networking does not involve the cloud at all. And this translates basically to where your devices that you have connected up in the way that I'm going to show you, that the devices communicate with each other, say in your own router network, where each computer has its own router address, okay? And that's what it is that we're going to be working with, are the router addresses. And so it's all in a connected network. Or if you have a computer that you are working with that's outside of your router, then if you have what's called its IP4 address, you can still utilize this tool to connect outside of your network. So that's why I say it's extremely flexible. And so, as I said, it's an internet connectivity system that does the work with no cloud being involved in this at all. And the tool that I'm going to recommend, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. And the tool that I recommend is called AOMEI Backupper. And this company is AOMEI Tech.com. And by the way, I'm going to be providing all these URLs in the description below this video, so you'll have all that information available to you. And the tool that I'm going to recommend is the professional version of this tool. And so let me just switch tabs here, show you the URL for that. And so why am I recommending this particular tool? Number one, it works across all Windows operating systems, including with Windows 11, as we can see here on the screen, all the way back to Windows Vista. And so I mean it's a full range of operating systems that are provided. And also, to answer the why, is because it solves all those nasty problems that I was just talking of if a person is using a cloud solution. So basically, using what we're going to talk about here, first of all, okay, so this here is the professional version. They have both a free plan, but that doesn't handle what we need as far as the syncing part is concerned. So I'm going to recommend for syncs that you get a paid plan. Okay, starting with I would recommend the professional version, and you can either get, let's see here, so you can either get let's click on the button here. So you can either get a subscription at $40 a year for this, or you can do a one-time purchase at $70 and never have to pay again. So that in and of itself is a great deal, money and comparison wise. And so that's kind of the breakdown as far as the plans, what it is that I'm showing you right now on the screen. And so what you do, let me go ahead, on the PC that I'm recording this on, I have a licensed copy of my Backupper application. And so what I'm going to go through, by the way, a full walkthrough as far as how you set all this up and the way that I recommend that you use this system once that it's set up and for day-to-day use of doing your uploads and your syncing across all your devices. We'll be getting to that. But basically, with this tool, here's the sync definitions over here in the left-hand column of the application window itself. What you do is you have a source drive. So on my PC here, let's go ahead and show you what my source drive is. My source drive is something that I put as capital letters for the file, for the folder name, and I recommend that you do the same type of thing. But you pick a spot on either your internal hard drive or a always attached external drive where you will have the source copy, the source location of everything that is part of this syncing process that we're going to be setting up. So that's one important point right there, is that you start from a source drive and folder location. And basically this replaces this content that we're looking at right here on the screen. This replaces your cloud sync file set that you maybe had before over in Dropbox or some other service. And then all the Windows devices that we want to set up with a sync, you create what we're going to be doing is we're going to be creating a duplicate file structure over there, and for each device that we want to do syncing with. And then what we do, so that's one of the main key initial things that we do. Then what we do is we identify the network address. Remember, I talked about your router, or needing to know the external outside of your router computer. That the address is called an IP4 address, and I'll show you exactly what that means and how to find it on every computer that you want to use the system with. And then what we do is we enter that address into the setup wizard of this tool, and then we get everything all synced up and linking, and then we've completed the setup. And you do this, what you do is, as I'm showing you right here on this window that we're looking at right now, I've got two sync tasks in this application. They're called tasks, and I have two of them defined for two computers here in my office that I use this tool for, as far as this syncing feature. And so you define individual tasks for each PC, each device that you are linking in a sync fashion. And as I mentioned, they have a free version. The free version only allows for what's called basic sync. As you can see, I'm using the professional version that I showed you there in the Chrome browser, as far as the page and the description of it. The basic sync is only available in the free version. It only does a one-way syncing operation, and what we need to be able to do is have two-way communication, so that everything in your network, in your shared repository across all the devices where this is set up, that everything is literally in sync. It's a direct copy from one device to another, and that's what it is that we're going to be able to set up. It's the same thing in the cloud version of this type of tool, but of course it's more expensive, and I've already talked about the negatives that can come with utilizing tools like Dropbox. And as I said, I'll be giving you a full walkthrough here in just a little bit. And the idea that all you need to do is just purchase one of these licenses to make this entire system work. And you may be asking at this point, are there any limitations with this backupper tool? And the only one that I have found is that if you buy a single PC license, the single PC license is that lifetime plan at $70, the flat out fee for that, and that is only for one PC being supported. And as I say, the only negative that I found is if you need to be careful if you want to uninstall that licensed version on one PC and transfer it to another PC. There can be problems with that as far as them acknowledging on their end that transfer is legitimate. And so a lot of time, I tried that one time, and I personally had to go back and buy a brand new fresh copy of the tool. But it's cost effective, so it wasn't that big of a deal, and it was a good learning lesson for me on that score. So you need to be careful on how you do that uninstall and then reinstall, attempt to reinstall that same copy. But that's the only limitation that I've seen. This is a fantastic tool that we're going to be getting into. All right, and so let's talk a little bit more about specifics about comparison of the pricing. And as I said, I'm not trying to pick on Dropbox, but this is an extremely popular choice right now in the marketplace, so that's the only reason why I'm talking about Dropbox here. And so first of all, let's go over here and look at the pricing model again for Backupper Pro. And you have 3 plans that you can choose from. Okay, and these are all paid plans, and you can either do a yearly subscription, or you could do a one-time only subscription, or you could have up to, and these are each only one PC that is supported with the install of what's going to be your core set of features that are available with Backupper. Or you can purchase a lifetime up to 5 PC license set as well at $90. So keep that in mind for the pricing. So it's very, very cost effective, especially if you look at a tool like Dropbox. We're over here at the paid plans website off of Dropbox.com, and all of their paid plans are substantially higher. If you do a cost breakdown, not so much at the monthly level, but if you factor that in at over say like a year's time, it's extremely expensive. So say for instance, we're just talking about this Plus plan, where you get up to 2 terabytes of storage available, along with the application install, so that you can sync everything up on autopilot, so to speak. And if you're looking at this here, we're talking about $120 a year for you to have Dropbox. Okay, so then let's go back over here to Backupper Pro, and here we're talking about a fraction of that money, no matter which of these 3 plans that we're talking about. Sure, the Pro yearly is going to be more expensive, so that's why I recommend a one-time only lifetime plan package for either Pro Family or Pro Lifetime. And so it's obvious as far as the price comparisons. So let's go ahead now, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to do an actual product walkthrough. Okay, so let's get that started here. And so what we want to do to allow for this syncing is you can either choose real-time sync. The idea with real-time is that it literally does happen real-time, provided that you've got all your devices that are in your network that are connected through this application. As long as all of those devices are powered on and they're not asleep, nor are they powered off, then this syncing will happen completely in the background. So you can choose that option. I decided not to do that because I wanted to have just easy control for myself of when that sync operation would happen. But the real-time sync is a great option for literally having everything run for you in the background from one system to another, to keep all of your files on all of those devices, literally a direct copy from one device to another. The one that I use is two-way sync, and the idea is that you, as the owner of this application and the way that you've got your network set up, you yourself control when that sync will occur. In other words, you literally issue when you want to do a sync from one device to another. So, and as I said, this basic sync just doesn't cut it. It's only one directional for the syncing, and so that doesn't solve any of the problems, okay, at all. Okay, and let's see. So let's go ahead. Let's show you what. So let's just pretend that we're going to edit this this setup here. Okay, and so what you do is you go in and you name your task. Remember, I told you that these the way that you define the sync is you give it it's an individual task within this system, and so you go ahead and you name it. And remember what I showed you a little bit ago here about the location that I have for my source drive location? You go ahead and you do a copy and paste of that location here in the source. This is the source information here, and then this is the target. Now the target is the actual connected by internet connectivity, by using the internet protocol to connect one computer to another, okay, without having the cloud involved, okay. That's what this URL, so to speak, or designation of a target area, that's what this is, okay. So the first thing I'm going to show you towards that end is I'm going to show you what the command is to be able to find what your IP4 address is for your computer, that you need to find that out. So what you do is you type in IP config and with /all. Now this is at the command prompt, at the Windows command prompt. And what you do is so it spits out a whole bunch of textual information. And what you want to do is you want to look for the information where IP4 is called out. Let's see. So perhaps I can find let's see, IP4, here it is, IP4 address. So it's this guy right here, okay, that is the address of this particular computer, the source computer in this case. That's the IP4 address. That is the root address that we're going to be referencing all of our information whenever we're setting these sources and target or destination setups up. We need to understand what the IP4 address is. So that's the first thing that you need to do, is you need to go in for your target, and I've already done that for this particular task that I've got set up. This is one of the laptops that is in my office right now, okay, and its IP4 address is this address here. And what it is I've got set up on that laptop, I have a duplicate name, just to make things easy, to make sure that I know where it is on all these different devices that I use, where this shared location is at. I call it new shared folder. And so let me go over. I have a remote session set up here on the PC, okay, for that laptop that I'm just talking about. So if you go over and you do IP and you do and you do IP config all, IP config all IP config. Would help if I IP config all, if I typed the command correctly. Okay, so again, looking at what we talked about before just a little bit ago, okay, here is that IP4 address. This is literally, so what I did was I typed in over in my main application for backupper, I entered in 10.0.0.226. That is the root information for this particular computer. That's the address in my network, in my router network, here at my office location. That's what it is. And so that's one of the important things. So the other thing that we need to set up on each of our target computers is we need to set up, we don't set up anything to do with the, as far as trying to copy any of the folders over. That's going to be coming whenever things get set up with the source and destinations. But what we want to do is we want to establish a folder called new shared folder in my case, and we need to share it in Windows. Now, the way that you do that is you go over after you've set up your folder, okay, and you go over and you right click and you click on properties, okay, of that folder name that you're designating for this process. And then it's already shared, so I'm not going to click on share again because that's going to muck things up. But what you need to do is you need to share the particular folder. Okay, that will allow this network connectivity protocol stuff. That is the whole basis of this communication structure that allows the syncing in a non-cloud fashion to actually occur. And so you need to share your particular folder. And so if this wasn't shared, I would click on share, and I would click on apply, and then I would click on OK. All right, and then that would share it. Then what you can do is you can go over, once that's set up, okay, then you can go over here in your source sync task that you are defining and working on getting set up. Then what you do is you enter in that IP4 address, okay, without any of these other letters thereafter. And then you click on this, actually, excuse me, let's take care of this here first. So you want to click on the add share or NAS device, and then you enter in that IP4 address, and then you want to click on save, and then it will go ahead, this system on the source side will go ahead and establish that internet communication, and then it will show you a drop down of the shared, remember we did the Windows share over on the laptop that is the target device. Then this program will show you the shared folders that you can then go in and with your mouse and select the one that you want to have as your target location for this syncing. So that's the way that this setup process works. And then you go ahead and you click on save, and then the system refreshes, and then you're good to go as far as being able to use that connection for doing your syncings. It's a very easy and seamless set of criteria and processes that we as the users of this system need to do. So what you do, so you do that with all of the devices. In my case, I've got my source. I've only got 3 PCs in my office for all sorts of various functions that I do for my business. And so I have my source PC that I'm shooting this video on, and then I've got my 2 target PCs that are part of my sync definitions. So whenever you've got all that set up and you want to do a sync, what you do is you click on sync now, and then it spins, it takes care of doing all that syncing for you. And then on the particular device that you want to view your new updates on, then you just go over in Windows Explorer, as we have got shown right here. This is a view of Windows Explorer of the new shared folder, and everything is literally a sync direct copy from one PC to another. Now there is one little note that I want to make about the sync now operation, okay, when you've got multiple devices and the source, okay. So the way that this works, as I said, we're talking about source and multiple targets, okay. So everything is initiated from the source PC, where you've got your professional copy licensed copy of the application installed. That's your source PC. Okay, and then if you, whenever you want to say that I've done a bunch of updates on this particular laptop over here, and it's got a whole bunch of new files, and I've deleted and or added a whole bunch of files over on this laptop. Okay, and I want to be able to get that information over to this source device. Okay, so what I do is I click on the Sync Now for the laptop that I'm referring to. That brings all of the new files from that device over onto my system. Okay, and then what you do, so then when that's complete, then that happens. Then what you do is then to have that seamless direct copy from one device to another, then you go over to your other device and you do the same thing for any additional devices that you've got in your configuration, and then you do Sync Now with that device as well, and then that literally brings everything into sync copy with each other. So that's the way that this Sync Now, the way that you do your initial setup, and the way that I recommend that you utilize the system once that you've got things set up. So to finish this up, let's review what the specific benefits are for utilizing this particular backup software. It's extremely cost effective, especially when you purchase that one-time license, whether we're talking about the one PC license or we're talking about up to 5 PC license. It's extremely cost effective, and you're not limited as you are with the traditional cloud solutions. So what do I mean by not limited? Your only storage size limit that's available on your particular drive and folder space that you have shared out, that you've got as the root and target of your, or source and target for your setup, the only storage limitation is what it is that you've got on your devices. So if we're comparing Dropbox and we're talking about a 2 terabyte size, okay, that's available in their plans, okay. And so if we're okay, so we're talking about 2 terabytes, and so on my particular systems, my only limitation as far as drive space is literally what I've got, the lesser of the two evils, so to speak, of size limitation from each of my devices. That's my only size limitation. So that's, again, is extremely flexible. If you've got more modern systems where you've got huge terabyte hard drives or external drives, then then you're really golden as far as this size limitation, where that is not an issue. So that right there is a great positive. And as we've seen, I hope that you have seen that this is an easy setup process and sync process to follow. And you're also not slowed down by cloud enforced speed constraints as far as the uploads itself and the syncing. I know myself, I have frequently had slow connections in connecting with the cloud, and that doesn't happen with this particular system, okay, because everything is communicated using a different protocol than what's used for in the cloud space. And you are also in complete control of your data. It's not part of any services anywhere. It's literally self-contained. So that's another great thing. And also, if you have an older Windows machines, that's not a problem with this tool. This tool runs on operating systems as far back as Vista. So that right there is another great positive. So let's talk about a couple of use cases for this tool. where you number one, where you're syncing all your own content within your own router network. You can set up any number of sync tasks. Right now, as we're looking at it on the screen, there's only two of those tasks that I've got defined, but you can have any number of them within this application. So that's a great way to utilize this tool, is to have for either for your personal use or for your business use, where you have these synchronized operations set up. You can also use this with clients or collaboration partners that you're working with. Once that you know their IP4 computer address, then you can go in and you can set up, just as I've shown you with this tool during the setup process. You enter in their IP4 address, and then you can go ahead and you can set up a task with that out of your network computer. So that's another great benefit with this application. You can sync in with other computers that you don't necessarily own. So another great benefit and potential use case. So in summary, let's sum this episode up. Please reference the URLs that I have in the description below so that you can decide for yourself, make your purchase, and start getting this system set up for yourself, and be able to ditch cloud storage solutions like Dropbox. And I hope that you have enjoyed learning about a cost-effective way to exchange and synchronize your files across multiple devices seamlessly and easily in a flexible and securely minded fashion. I hope that this episode has been beneficial for that. And so please leave a comment that is available below this video to provide your feedback and questions. And I'd love to hear about the way that you will be using this tool and the setups that you will be using. And I always personally respond to all comments and feedback that is provided to me. So that's a great communication method. So I'll be back next Thursday with more content to inspire and provide how-to information on leveraging technology in unique and clever ways to grow your business. Again, this has been Donna Smith, and I look forward to connecting with all of you soon. Take care.